joining us. Where are you dialing in from, Ross?
I'm dialing in from Phillip Island, Cape Willamai.
That's the new residence. Any waves down there this morning?
Yeah, it's actually I didn't look this morning because it's just howling wind onshore. I just went for just like a quick swim.
There's
I had a biking accident.
biking accident. Ouch.
Yeah.
Does Ross Clarke-Jones still go for a paddle when it's 3 foot, or does it have to be?
Yeah, oh yeah, love to. I got a longboard. I've been
Yep.
sporting a longboard for the last couple of years actually,
Okay.
since my accident and getting back on the horse, so
Yep.
to speak.
But you still throw that around.
Oh yeah, I love to surf small waves. I mean, it's right up the end of the street. There's a really nice right-hander. It's kind of always there.
Yep. Yep. Classic.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back and look at some of the forces that sort of shaped and influenced you from an early stage. You grew up on the Central Coast in the 70s and 80s. How much did growing up there shape you as a person and a surfer?
Oh, ultimately, it defined me as a person, and as a surfer as well. Like the local guys took me under the wing. I used to hang with a lot of older guys. They used to drive me around, and I started surfing with my schoolmates. Like there's a couple of schoolmates, Stuart Pike and Darren Hingerbotham and Brett Pill, these guys. I started surfing with, and then we had the older guys, Mitch Toby and Rick Goldner and Ross Greenwood. They had licenses and they used to drive me around to Foresters Beach, Avoca, wherever the surf was good, and Pelican Beach. But there's things that there's pros and cons into that. To the boys, like for example, the Central Coast was like, it was kind of well, mate, if you stretch, you get a big head, mate. You know what I mean? One of those things. So I never stretched.
Yeah, yeah.
It kind of affected me a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was
So what are
pretentious.
you
Yeah.
stretching, you fuckwit? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Well, you know what I mean? It was
It
like
was
that.
that era. Yeah, very tall poppy at the
Very
time.
tall poppy syndrome. Like, so it kept me very humble and um, which is good in a way. I've always tried to be a humble person and not being like oh mate, fucking it's yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know exactly the sort of culture you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it was also a fairly prominent big wave scene though on the Central Coast. A lot of people don't know about.
No, well, we had Foresters Beach, which probably draws in that south swell, probably bigger than anywhere on the east coast that
Yep.
I know. It's similar to, I guess, a similar bathymetry to Nazare, where there's a deep canal through the canyon. You know what I mean? Through
Yep.
to Foresters Beach from the south, so that draws in. So that and I had Banzai, which was like a backdoor sort of wave. The lefts is a big, massive left, and then Terrigal Haven. That's where I began sort of big wave surfing at 11 years old, I guess.
So you had a taste for it early on. All my Central Coast friends are now just getting really upset with me because I've lured you into dropping some big names.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I should. Yeah, there's so many big names that like Bill Cillier was instrumental for me as a young pro surfer, or beginning of the pro surfer at 11, 13 or 12 years old. And I was riding Jeff McCoy's boards. I was first sponsorship, Um, you get a board for $187. I was like, you. And then, Bill said, "Hey, mate, get off the McCoys. What are you doing?" and he shaped me some really good boards and sat me on a tire outside Kincumber. He goes, "Mate, I'll pay you $80 a month, pay for all your contest fees, and give you all your boards." was like, wow, that was the start of pro surfing when I was 13 years old for
At
me.
13, that was a great deal then.
Oh mate, I was wrapped. And Bill Silly's been my second father for that long. So yeah.
Yeah, you'll always be synonymous with that Nirvana logo, definitely.
Yeah.
But your real dad was a doctor. Did he endorse your pro surfing aspirations?
Not so much pro surfing, but more with the ocean, the knowledge of the ocean, and he used to take me. Well, when I was probably, I don't know, I can't remember. I was like 3 months old. Apparently, he used to take me and just throw me into the bars at Balmoral, and then take me to the surf at Manly. Since I can remember. I know every time I just used to wake up, he's ripping me out of bed going, let's go for a swim. I was like, what? And and I'd sort of sleep in the back of the Morris Minor little car, and then he just grabbed me and threw me in the ocean. So that's my earliest memories of that.
Always in the water. I guess you have to be pretty motivated to study and practice medicine. Did his work ethic inspire or influence you? I mean, obviously you didn't become a doctor, but watching your dad in that sort of profession.
Yeah, I mean, he was, like he said, he was in the Navy, right? So he in the Second World War, and he had a opportunity to study medicine. I said, I gather when you leave the forces or the service back then, you had an opportunity to do anything. You get a free run or something. So he studied medicine. So he's like, I'll be a doctor, But he said he failed a couple of years because he was partying too much. He told me.
Oh, right, okay.
As he was dying, he told me that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he failed a couple of years through medicine, but then he went on to become a dermatologist, because he's like, there's skin cancer going on, and there was no one at the Central Coast at the time. So he was practicing at 8 surgeries at one stage to detect melanomas back in the day, and no one sort of was doing that. But more the traveling I've got from him, the travel bug I got. We put our mother in Manly Hospital, and we walked up to that, to the heads. There's a viewpoint to the north head or south head, and we're looking, and there was a ship leaving, and never forget it. I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, and then he's going, "Do you want to see that ship? Do you want to get on it?" And I was like, yes, let's do it. And he goes, that ship would be leaving for Hobart or something, I can't remember when it was. He goes, look, it was just my brother and I, my brother Stephen and I, and my dad's going, let's go. We were flying back to Mosman where we lived, and he goes, pack your bags. I'm like, what? So I packed 16 pairs of socks. Fucked if I know why, but that was my bag. So and I got it in a school bag, and we raced to the wharf in the city somewhere. Yeah, it's the used to be the wharves, now it's all apartments.
Yep.
Where Russell Crowe lives in that.
Yeah.
Circular Quay, and the shit there, and we got there and just made it. And the bridge, what do you call it? The bridgeway thing, the on the ship, it was going up.
Yep.
And he goes, hold the bridge, hold the ladder or whatever it is. And they held it for us, and the guy just took our car and we got on. It was like that got me like for the rest of my life. I was racing to airports, racing to ships, racing to cars. I was saying that really affected me.
Yeah, that's how travel was done.
That was the influence.
Could have been done you could do it on a whim. Yeah.
Yeah, but not 16 pair of socks. I learned how to pack.
Yeah, your packing's gotten better then since
then.
then.
Yeah, and very light and just the essentials.
Wasn't one of your descendants also an explorer?
Yeah, he's actually that was it was my great grandfather was, I think, Reverend William Howe.
Right.
So he brought Christianity to Borneo,
Okay.
England. So, and then married a full princess, a native Dayak headhunter. Yeah, so he wasn't an explorer, so to speak, but he
He was a missionary.
was a missionary. Yeah,
Yeah. Which is,
yeah, and then so yeah, that's where that headhunting, exploring. Well, I wouldn't say Christianity comes involved. Um, yeah,
yeah, you always you dwell upon the fact sometimes that you're born on the 6th of the 6th, 66. It's as I said, I don't think you're in commune with the devil, but it's a quirky fact.
it is that. Yeah, when I mean, I went to a Church of England school actually, which was ironic. But yeah, I mean, I kind of got traumatized as a kid from the whole church school thing. I don't know, politically correct, but I didn't. I got really turned off when I saw mass canings. Like because we're laughing in school. You
Yeah.
know, we're laughing in the mass of the morning mass or something.
Yeah.
I could, when you can't laugh, when you're not allowed to laugh as a kid, it's like hard to contain, you know, and then, or talk. I just remember I never got the cane at school. I got through almost right through to the last year of high school before I got to get the cane, on the hand, actually, because I wanted to, because I was like, I can't leave school without getting the cane. I got away with murder through school. But yeah, digressing.
So you had your other surfing mates, obviously, that were sort of probably somewhat separate from school, possibly. I guess one of your great mates was Mark Sainsbury growing up. You have some really fond memories of times with Sanger?
Yeah, well, Sanger was one of my best mates and a rival. His father Max taught at my school. He was a woodwork teacher at my school at Terrigal, and Sanger went to Erina. So it's this rivalry in Avoca board riders and in the Newcastle schoolboys and like state schoolboys, Australian schoolboys, and then the world titles. And we went through since we were like 13, and I remember Max going, Mark doing this, Mark doing. He used to shit me out to tears.
In woodwork class, he'd be needling
you. Yeah, it's like, yeah, Mark this, because Mark used to saying you're almost like 80% of the time used to beat me. Yeah, and I'd win like 20% of the time. So yeah, it was like a bittersweet relationship. But then we used to like progress to when we got our licenses, we'd race up to Newcastle. I mean, this is before speed cameras.
Yeah.
Cops. So we just go the back way. We actually would race. He had this little, I don't know, little Toyota shitbox. I had some little Subaru shitbox. We were like, it was so dangerous. But it was the competitive spirit in us,
Every situation was turned into something competitive.
Yeah, but that was almost more fun than surfing. I racing to Newcastle to the heats,
Yeah, well, I'm sure you probably won more than you lost in that race.
No, I always won that. That was 80%. Me.
Now, sort of somewhat infamously, I think you went on a trip to Thailand when you were 17 with an older local from the Central Coast.
Yeah, no.
What happened there?
Oh, mate, that's isn't like a triple X rated version, an R rated version, and then it doesn't get it even. Yeah, I can't even the general audience version. It just doesn't exist because I won't tell you the school teacher's name, but he was a school teacher.
Yeah, he was a school teacher. That's right.
Yeah, he used to drive me around too. He was one of the older guys that used to drive me around, and Yeah, I should have told his name, but maybe bleep it out. Anyway, he took me to Thailand. It's like, this is an old story. I've convinced my father to let me go to Thailand because I said we're studying geography in Thailand. I mean, we're studying Thailand in geography next year, and it'd be great to get a first-hand view of Thailand and Bangkok. Anyway, long story short, I went to Bangkok for 30 days and 30 nights, and witnessed the most harrowing experience of my life. First night, Pat Pong Road is where all the nightclubs and the strippers and the it's just this, what's it called? It's the city of sin or something. It's worse than Vegas. I don't know.
Yep.
Anyway, I was actually about to leave. There was an article on 60 Minutes the day before I left to Thailand, and it was all about the drugs and the prostitution of Pat Pong Road.
Yep. Yep.
And my father's going, "You're not going." I said, "We won't go there, you know. There's no way we're going to go there. Like, surely I'm going to look at
it was an educational geography trip. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to look at temples and, all this other stuff. But that's all I actually saw. And like the first night, I was like, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was walking past all these bars, and then I lost John. I lost my
your mentor.
My mentor.
Yeah.
I just lost him. I just got, it's like a kid in a store or shopping center that loses his mother. But I was having such a good time. There was girls with pythons on their necks, and I'm going, fuck, what is this shit? I'm like, I'm going to go in this bar, and just went into this bar, I was like 16, 17 years old, and I was just in awe of it. And then, the girls are like, "Oh, take me home. I go, really?" Anyway, I took two home. First night, I go, "Yeah, why not take two? Yeah, both of you come. Let's go." Woo! Okay, so this was my introduction. The girls came back and going up, and they both got on their hands and knees and started shooting heroin.
Whoa.
And I was like, whoa, okay, this is what's going on here. And they just shooted up heroin in front of, like, on the floor, and bent over on their hands and knees. It was so scary. I was never that scared in my life at that point.
Did you know exactly what they were doing? Like, you're sort of not so naive that you didn't know what was going on?
Oh, I was like, well, I'm sure, like, they were sticking needles in their arms.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's heroin,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they were doing. They're not diabetics or something. Right? I didn't, that's all I knew is diabetes. You can shoot insulin. I'm going, are they both diabetics, or I'm going, anyway, that's what I innocently thought. Maybe they're diabetics because they couldn't talk. But then they just passed out on the bed in front of me. I'm just sitting on the chair going, with my mouth open, going, and then they passed out. And I'm going, I was sitting in silence going, what the fuck? Yeah, so, and then I'm like,
that was day one. So this
is day one. So a 17-year-old, horny as fuck, going, oh, should I go? Or, what do I do? I was a lot of emotions running through my mind. I think I told my son this story, but not my daughter. She'll know. She knows. But anyway, yeah. So, like, an hour later, they sort of came to, and they were like summoning me to come to bed. I'm like, fuck that! Please get out. I'm fucking help.
Yeah.
And that's why I was trying to find my school teacher, banging on his door. Help! What the fuck? Get him out! Yeah. So that was my introduction to Thailand. So you can't hear the rest.
No, I think we've got an insight into what might have transpired. The imagination can run wild, but it's certainly
yeah.
a transformative experience, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it was. That was my. I grew up 10 years in 1 hour.
That's a good way to summarize it.
Yeah.
Back to something slightly more innocent. So you were sponsored by Quicksilver from a fairly young age.
Yeah.
But legend has it you weren't cast in Mad Wax, but showed up on the beach at Newport. I actually went to the office, the Quicksilver office, and talked your way into it.
Yeah, like no. So I got sponsored by Quicksilver at age of 16 when I met Sean Riley from the Gold Coast, and I met Gary Ogleton and Rabbit Bartholomew. They all came to my house, and they were my heroes. Like Kong, he came beating on my door, and Rabbit came the next day because they were all friends of Sean Riley, Reg. So that's where I got sponsored by Quicksilver because they thought, he can surf. Let's get him on Quicksilver. So that's where I received my first package of board shorts. But that was 1983. So 1986, we went to the world titles. Sanger got first. I got third. And then we're going to do the Mad Wax. Bruce Raymond was doing the casting for Mad Wax. He goes, so the Wiz has to be Sanger because he's the world champion. And then I wasn't even included in the script. And there was Peter Wilson. Peter Wilson told me, go, Ross, they're filming a surf movie called Mad Wax. Well, I don't think it was called Mad Wax, and it just didn't have a name. So there's filming at Quicksilver, filming surfing at Avalon. Yeah, it was Avalon the first time. They're doing it right now. In an hour, they're starting filming. Just go down there. I was like, why not I include it? He goes, well, you're not on the cast, so just go there and have a go. So anyway, I just went out there and got some waves, and I went surfing with Kong and Noah Budrow and Sanger. And I was just getting more waves. I just kept getting waves, and then they were getting me on film. And then, so I still wasn't in the cast, so to speak, but they go, oh, Ross, we're going to go film again. So I was included. At least they told me at Colroy. And then I just did this one really cool cutback. And that was like the best scene, the best wave they've got. It's just, the wave was this big. It was like really slow motion and just, anyway, that was the best footage or wave they got of me. And then they go, Ross, I reckon you've got to come, let's go to Black Rock. What's it called? Aussie Pipe,
yep.
So I went down there. I surfed for like 8 hours straight. I didn't come out of the water. Sanger was, he was very precious at the time. He was the world champion. It's all about me anyway. So he just get a couple of waves and come in. I just stayed out the whole time. So they've got a lot of waves of me. They had heaps of waves. And then Bruce Raymond goes, Ross, we've decided to make you as the Wiz.
Yep.
Not Sanger. And I was like, fuck yeah. I was so happy. He goes, you're going to be a star, man. I'm like, really? And so that Mad Wax, that's still, people still come up to me and go, hey, Wiz, which is, well, how many years ago? Was that 30 years ago?
Yeah, more. Yeah.
More, 40.
Yep. It's coming up to the 40th anniversary.
40th anniversary. Yeah. 86. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so that's how I got in. So determination got me in there.
Can you remember the premiere? Apparently the premiere was at the Enmore Theatre, and I think
I still
fed everyone hash cakes.
I've still got the plant. Apparently it was a big, I can't remember this, because probably that's why, because I ate too much cake. It was a cake full of pot, I guess.
Yeah.
And everyone started hacking, going, it was the birthday cake. I went, oh, yeah, this is celebration cake or something. I actually didn't know.
Yeah, I don't think half the people there did. Yeah,
No, yeah. Anyway, that was Enmore Theatre. That was
different times. So you
yeah.
obviously got a little taste of fame from Mad Wax, though.
Mm.
Back then, you were what 19, 20 years old when it would have come out, and yeah, but instant recognition. What was that like to get that taste of fame?
Um, it was like okay, it was good because like the competitive thing. It was always a competitive thing. I wanted to be beat Sanger pretty much. It was always about me and Sanger, the rivalry, which I've noticed it in. I've been watching Drive to Survive on Netflix with the F1 guys. You know, it's like a team thing, and they're always the rivals. Their biggest rival is their teammate.
Yep.
And I mean, I guess it resonates or translates to every sport. But yeah. Well, sorry,
Yeah, I guess he's getting that early fame. Like you had a taste of fame early on. Suddenly you were famous. You'd
Yeah.
walk
So
around the street
suddenly,
and people would recognize you.
yeah, no, that was really. It was all happened at once. So had the Mad Wax came out, and then Sanger and I turned pro, and then I went to the Billabong Pro and Surf Waimea. So now as a big wave surfer, I had the Mad Wax thing going, you know, and I was like, wow, like a big wave surfer, Mad Wax. It was all at once, and the the fame got like doubled and tripled for in terms of surfing fame, if you like. Yeah, and I remember like I feel it was, but I still haven't had a competition win, which
Yep.
was I had this sort of fame without winning.
Yep. And at the time, winning it was really pro surfing was really about winning competitions, wasn't it? Like the concept of free surfing hadn't really materialized, although you were getting a little insight into what that might be.
Yeah, but that fame thing didn't really. I mean, it's like it was kind of worse from the Central Coast, right? Oh, you're a famous big head. You got too big. You're too famous now. I went, fuck you. You know what I mean? So I was still not to be allowed to be famous. You know what I mean? So I didn't really care about the fame so much, but it was recognition was cool.
Yeah.
The sponsorship was good. So that I got recognized through Quicksilver and for that reason, which was nice. You know, you're getting paid. So Sanger's getting paid to be the competitor. I was getting paid to be the fucking movie star or big wave surfer or what do you even want to call it. So that helped my ego or
self-confidence. Yeah.
Self-confidence. Yeah.
So suddenly you're a pro surfer. Did you ever have to contemplate a career alternative or not?
No, that's all I always wanted to be that. And I was determined to be that no matter how I could get there, whether competing or image or whatever, maybe get sponsorship to carry on to the tour, to just have the lifestyle, really.
So that was the motivation. Yeah, I'm curious to like the motivation to join the pro tour at the time. Do you think you were very competitively motivated? Like everyone thinks they're going to be world champ, or was it about perpetuating a lifestyle?
I wasn't. I never thought I was going to be a world champion. And I wasn't a great competitor because I just like surfing waves, and my wave choice was hideous, and I just wanted to keep surfing waves and not just get the biggest the way, like being judged. I just want to keep, the one hack turn. That was my thing, which is better now. They can do one turn and get 10, right? And the thing is, you have to catch 5 waves or at least 4. Now it's like 2.
Yep.
And that would have been benefited me. I mean, I always could get really 2 good waves, but I couldn't get 4 or 3 because and yeah. So,
did you have a proudest moment as a competitor? Did you have one moment where you think, oh, I'm quite proud of what I accomplished?
It was
aside from the big wave stuff. Aside from the big wave.
No. It was the Pro Junior Trials winner. I won the Pro Junior Trials winner, and that was that was a big moment in my life. Because Sanger was not in it, because he was invited or something, because he won the actual pro junior. But then I won, at least I won the trials for it or something. I mean, that was a big thing for me in the earlier days. And then I went up. I actually missed the Newcastle schoolboys because I turned up late from my heat. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go to Queensland and enroll in a school in Queensland. This is where it all started. So fuck it, terminally. I mean, sorry, I don't know that word terminally, but essentially I went to Queensland to enroll into school so I could go in the schoolboys, Queensland schoolboys, which I did. The Gold Coast schoolboys, I won that. A Gold Coast schoolboys, I won.
You won that. That's the other big win.
That was a big win for me. I'm like, yeah. And this is how I got to the Australian schoolboys via that Queensland and so on. Yeah. And that was another thing. Sanger was a Sanger there. Sanger was in the New South Wales team.
You're in the Queensland team then?
I was in the Queensland team.
Yeah.
There was a controversy about that. He can't do that. I'm like, fuck, I did it. Yeah.
So you made it onto the Pro Tour, and it was a pretty, wild time on the circuit in those years. Can you give us a bit of an insight into, what it was like? There were so many stories, particular locations, France, Brazil. Were there times where it was out all night, surfing the next day, out all night again?
Out all night. This is from the very beginning. Durban was the first international location we went to. Was it Durban? I can't remember. The Gunston 500.
Still the Gunston, was it? Yeah, Gunston 500.
Yeah, so that was my first my first pro event, and it was like, okay, so I've gone out to this nightclub, and there's all the girls. I mean, honestly, they were kind of big girls, but they were like, she wanted to. I want you, I'm like, wow, this is. And they said, "You recognise me from Mad Wax?" And I was like, wow, I'm getting the benefits. I go, this is the first time. Probably was the last time as well, but it was my introduction to pro surfing. We're partying all night in the nightclub, and the girl wanted me, big girl. Anyway, it was an introduction, and which kind of continued through my 9-year career, I guess, but in a different way. I never really focused on the contest. It was more like it's. I remember guys saying, if you progress through the heats, you were getting more depressed because you couldn't go out with the other guys. And like, you know what I mean? Because when you lose, it like the group just keeps growing, and there's group, Yep.
It's a bigger party scene. Yeah.
It's a bigger party, and the group just keeps growing that goes out. So, if you keep going in the event, you're like, fuck, I want to come out, but you can't. But, yeah, so I got best of both worlds. If I did progress through the event, I'll still go out.
Yeah, okay.
And there was Rod Kerr, John Shamuka, and Matt Hoy. I mean, Matt Hoy a little bit later. Or Matt Hoy, yeah. And that was the group.
Did you ever set yourself a record of kind of progressing through heats in the day and then going out every night?
And I got my first and only 10 in San Sebastian. It was at Route, actually. I was like, you know what? Why change anything? We've been out all night, and I got a full 10. Like I think it's the only 10 I've ever got. I may be a pipe or something, but like a full 10 across the board.
Yeah, and you've been out all night.
Beach break,
Yeah. And
I mean, that's kind of confidence booster, right? So I was like, no, don't change anything.
Yeah. Did it always feel like, you said you're on the tour for about 9 years? Was there a sense of security that this thing was going to keep going, or did it feel like it all could fall over at any moment? Or
well, it did. Well, it was like, because it was Sarah and I were in the top 30, top 30. I mean, it was 35 back then. I was like, we were both 33 and 34.
Yep.
And, you know, we were so close. And then, yeah, Quicksilver said, it was Peter Wilson said, look, it's you, a singer. It was like we came down because we're not quite in the 30, and he goes, right. And I just got married to Cassia in Brazil. And Pete Wilson goes, you guys have got to stop partying. You got to get your shit together and start competing. And I remember saying, "Look, yeah, I'll stop partying. I'll be with my wife. I'll toe the line, you know, like a lap dog."
Yeah.
But I remember I have so much admiration for Sanger for doing this. He's going, "Fuck you, I'll do what I want," you know. But it cost him his sponsorship, and so they took me instead of Sanger, like, to go on. And then the next year, a couple of years, he had the aneurysm explode and he died.
What was that like for you when he'd been a rival but a great friend? You know, it's like what was that like?
Yeah, that was so mixed emotions of I was so angry and sad, and it was a selfish like, you can't help to your emotions where it just comes out going, fuck you. And I chucked a surfboard that I lent him in Reunion Island out the window. It was in Portugal when I heard the news. Actually, go back, we're in Reunion Island, and he was getting all kind of weird, and he wasn't surfing, and he was sitting in the car and it was pumping. St. Lou was pumping, and I came in going, what are you doing? And he was sort of just staring at the ocean, you know, really stoned or something. Or going, fuck, you okay? And he's like, he didn't really answer. It was strange. And that's where I sort of got, yeah. And he goes, I want to go back and see my girlfriend back in Australia. I go, mate, that's going to cost us heaps. What are you going to do? He goes, we used to travel together. And then he went back, surfed to Vocal Point, running around, and then he was found dead, and his aneurysm exploded in the water at a Vocal Point. So anyway, I went on to Portugal, and I heard that Sanger died. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. I was like, no. I said, it can't be true. And I rang up Bill Cilia, and he goes, yeah, it's true. He died in my arms. I was like, what? Yeah, so I just freaked out. Just got so angry, and so wasn't even sad. It was such a weird feeling. And I chucked this one of Bill's boards out the window of a 4-story hotel, and it went out the window and smashed in a sheet of glass, just went down in front of a lady, right? So I've looked out the window where the board was, and this lady's passed out. So she freaked out when the sheet of glass exploded in, and she just passed out. So I thought I've killed someone as well. All at the same time, I'm going, oh, fuck. I'm going, oh, what do I do? Now I've murdered someone, and now my best friend's died, and, you know. So that was a situation. Yeah, it was very sad. And I still dream of Sanger, which is so weird. Like, to this, how many years ago is that? You know, I have this reoccurring dream every now and then that Sanger's back. I'm going, fuck, dude, everyone's missing you. What are you doing? and yeah, I still dream of Sanger.
He's weirdly, if you've got a guardian angel, it's Sanger now, Ross.
Yeah.
Way of thinking about it. I guess around this time it must have dawned on you that you've kind of got to cultivate another way to keep this surfing dream alive. When did you start to? I mean, you'd had a taste of it because you'd realised with Mad Wax and you'd had certain big wave accomplishments. So, but part of your brain must be going, oh, how do I keep this? You know, competitively, I'm winding up. What do I do?
No, I was fortunate that Quicksilver, like, I was. You know, I did the big wave thing, and I did well in big waves, did well in Hawaii. I always did well in an event in Hawaii. Like, I got second to Billabong Pro to Shane. That's when I made the top 30. and that kept me going for another year. And then that next year, I lost 8 heats in a row. It's my first year with my wife, Cassia, and fuck, almost going to. I had 1 year in the top 30. I was going to be out again,
Yep.
So I don't know what I did. I just kept. Anyway, Quicksilver said, "Fuck competing. You're not even that good competitor." Thanks, but he said, "Look, you can go free surfing, surf big waves." Which Tom Curran did the couple of years before. He was a free surfer.
Yep.
So I think Quicksilver got on that. Like, that's a great idea. Ross is, you're wasting your talent riding small waves.
So this is around about the mid-90s.
Yeah. And said, it was 95 actually. And I said, give me 1 more year. I think I still can. I want to win a pro contest, I got seconds and thirds and just never won one. But then I was like, okay, just give me 1 more year to win. And I almost won pipe. I got third in pipe to Tom and Boothie. It was 92 actually, 93. I don't know. But then, yeah. So
and then it sort of, but you had basically the green light from Quicksilver to chase big waves
so
early on.
It was good. So I didn't make top 30 and it's like, I got that transition. I got to just free surf.
And you got
it was actually more free surf surf Indonesia and just get photos, and it was movies or, that way.
It wasn't even so much of a focus on big waves yet. It hadn't really come to that. But I guess, we'll get to the Eddie, but before the Eddie, you're involved in another day that gets sort of referred to as the biggest Wednesday at Outside Log Cabins in 98.
98.
And I think, Ken Bradshaw gets a lot of the bragging rights for that day, but you and Tony Ray were out there as well and rode some big waves also.
Yeah, no, Ken Bradshaw, I mean, it's a funny thing. Like, Ken wasn't, this is what a sort of a Mad Wax sort of deal. He wasn't involved. It was IMAX was doing an extreme film. It's called Extreme. The film was about rock climbing and ice rock climbing and all sorts of extreme sports, and big wave surfing was included. And Quicksilver was instrumental in getting me involved with was Tony Ray, myself, Gary Ogleton, Robbie Nash are involved in it somehow. And anyway, it was more focus on me, actually, the IMAX film, and they got some footage of what do you call it, backyards, and stuff. It was pretty lame, but they got IMAX footage of that. And then they were just about calling it a day, and then that biggest Wednesday came, right? And we couldn't get out anywhere. Like, you're not allowed. It was code red. What was it called? I can't even remember. Condition black.
They make it illegal to even exit the harbour, I think, don't they?
Yes, whatever. Yeah. I think it's called condition black, maybe. I can't remember. In the States, you're not allowed to leave the harbour, but there was a loophole in the legalities that you can exit in front of your home, in front of your residence. They can't stop you doing that. Yep. Anyway, so Ken Bradshaw's going, yeah, come with me. And I go, we're doing the IMAX thing. I told him we're doing the IMAX. He goes, can you get me involved? And then you can use
my place is the
yard. I said, I'll get you paid. We'll go out as a team, like 2 teams. And so Ken got straight out. Tony Ray and I flipped the ski getting out. It was so hard to get out. We had these little puddle jumpers, little.
This is straight out the front of Log Cabins is where his place was.
Sorry, this is straight out of front of Flippy Hoffman's house.
Okay.
Which Ken Bradshaw used to rent.
Right, okay.
The one at Backyards.
At Backyards, yep.
Yeah. So we went out there. We eventually got out. I got these 3 incredible waves, and the 3 amazing. And the third one was a really cool way. but the IMAX helicopter hadn't got out yet.
Okay.
So they've missed all my waves. Sorry, this is our log cabin. It's the big day.
Yeah.
So they missed the whole session, and then Tony and I swapped on that fourth wave, and that's when we got mowed over, which would have been the best footage ever.
Yeah.
As well, so they missed all that. I think Tim Benithan got it from the headland or something, or someone got it, but not. Imagine that in IMAX would have been that. So that was my starring role in IMAX, and they missed every one of them, and that was such a disappointment. And Ken got, in the
got the biggest. Tim got the footage of Ken for the biggest Wednesday.
Exactly, yeah, but the IMAX thing, I had to, but they used me. They used a poster of me for the promotion of the IMAX film, which thankfully Jeff Hornbaker got. He got the one and only photo of that, my third wave, which helped me with Quicksilver.
Yeah. So you get someone. It wasn't just you talking into the wind. There was documentation that.
There was documentation, because they missed all of. Bob McKnight was like, "Fuck, Ross, what have you been doing?" I'm going, dude, I'm drifting out to sea. No one got my waves. They missed all my waves. So that one photo Jeff Hornbaker took carried me through.
Yeah. Another
couple of years.
Yeah. That once.
Yeah, it got me these little things that can carry you through. It only takes one, but it has to be a good, strong one,
So, and I guess some of those accomplishments also helped you qualify for the Eddie, because even just getting a start at the Eddie is no easy.
So you have to rewind a bit. So when the first year on the tour, the Billabong Pro, I surfed the Eddie. I surfed the event. Actually, that was I can't remember. It was the first event as a pro surfer. And then we went on to Durban and stuff. But
so your first event as a pro surfer was the Billabong Pro, which got moved to Waimea.
Yes. Yep. It was the Sunset, and then it got too big, and it went to Waimea.
A couple of guys didn't paddle out, and then it was.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother story. Yeah. Rob Bain and Almir Zalazar were getting pounded on the inside, and I was just following MR, Mark Richards, out the back, going, he knows what to do.
Yeah.
I was on a 710 going, yeah, no worries. I thought I was like Terrigal Haven again, I was like, this is epic. And so that was my introduction to Hawaii. And Mickey Nelson, he was looking after me. He's the Quicksilver thing, and I was embraced by the black shorts back then. It was so good. And it was, that was more of a feat, to being welcome to Hawaii, than any world title it could have been.
Yep.
For me, I was like, you know what, this is a world title, to get accepted to these guys. So I had, a run of Hawaii. I've been welcomed to Hawaii. I've never had trouble in Hawaii. I've always enjoyed being, and it essentially feels like home. And the people that made it like that.
And so you had early credibility, which is crucial to actually making it onto the Eddie list to begin with.
Yes. So they saw this kid from Australia just took on Waimea, no worries, with the 710. He's invited the Eddie. So I was going to invite the Eddie the next year, 1987.
That was the first year you surfed it.
But yeah. So there's another story.
Another story. I guess we there's a lot of stories to tell. We probably should go to the real Eddie story, which is the time you won. So what, reflecting back on that now, it was 2001, I think, sort of 50-odd years ago.
1987. So, okay, I got the invite in 1987. I went, fuck, before the internet, I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to do a little quick run. So I went to Vegas, off my dial for going in Vegas. Woo, going, yeah. And then look up the news in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. The Eddie Aikau is going to be on in the biggest swell in history and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the fuck? So I went straight to the airport, got a taxi, went back to Hawaii, surfed the Eddie. That was the first one.
Yeah.
I got 7th. right? And I thought, what an idiot. I should never do that again. So I've never done that again. And so I've always concentrated on the Eddie. Like the week before it's going to come, I just like cruise and never do anything like that again. So when 2001 came, so there was 99, there was 95 that happened. It was a half an event. And I knew I could win it. I could have felt like this thing with Waimea, and I just felt very comfortable there. And it wasn't like an usual contest that you can drop in for a start. There's no interference, and you just got to get 4 waves over 2-hour heats. And I'm going, I can do that, no worries. And back to the morning of the Eddie, like 99, I did the worst. I got 10th. I was putting too much pressure on myself because 14 years have passed. I go, I can win the Eddie. I can win the Eddie. And I swear to that. And then I kept telling Quicksilver that. And they go, okay, Ross, it's been 14 years now. So, yeah, and that year I won, I was like so relaxed. I just went, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care about it anymore. I really don't care. I put too much pressure on this. And then, that was got a call on. I was still in bed. I didn't go down at like 4 a.m. thinking, what's going on, like I usually do. And Bushman knocked on my door. Ross, get up, the Eddie's on. I'm like, yeah, okay, just chill out, mate. I'm going to have a coffee first and just go to the toilet. He said, what the fuck? Where's your boy? Where's your boys? I go, they're ready to go. The 3 Bushmen, 10-footers, ready to go. Would you mind taking them down for me? He goes, yeah, take them down. He goes, yeah, I've got the truck. I'm like, yes. Yeah, and it was just like a cruise. It was like a euphoric day. That it was so easy. It came so easily to me. And I remember it clearly that last heat was with Shane Horan, and everyone frothed out and got their 4 waves too early. And so I was out there by myself because once you get 4 waves, you have to come in, but that was the rules then. If you had 4 waves, you got to go in, or you can't take any waves. So I was out there by myself for probably half an hour. With the most perfect Waimea. Like, it wasn't that big. It was 25 feet, no closeouts, but it was beautiful. And it was like, which wave do you take?
Yeah.
Like, man, can you imagine that? I'm going, this is my time. I'm going, wow. I mean, I've already got like 3 good waves under my belt anyway, and I've got 3 left. And so I got another 3 beautiful waves, and I was like, you know what? It felt like I've won anyway. And I remember paddling in and go, Ross, you won, you've got to win for sure. I'm like, but I still wasn't, because all of the disappointments I've received through competing, going, you think you've won, and then the score comes out and going, no, you didn't win. I'm like, you got ripped off, man. I was like, you know what? I don't care. I just had a best day. And I remember one of the judges came running down to me, Ross, you've won. I said, I still wasn't convinced, right? And then they're going, Shane Dorian's he's caught all these 4 waves, you've won. And they let him have another one. Okay, what? And I said, see, I'm not convinced. Shane Dorian could still win. He was the only guy who could catch me. And and I was like, I'm still not convinced till I get this check. See, it took a month for me after I won to be convinced. I got the check. I was up there. It was so like a surreal.
You still felt like someone could come and take it off you, maybe.
Yeah, I'm like, they could still fuck me up somehow.
Well, because I think it was at 99 when Kelly came and added up the scores, and Tony Ray had it won, and then
exactly
suddenly he'd won it. It all disappeared. So that's probably
that's the year after I won.
Oh, that's the year after.
Tony Ray would have won it as well.
Yeah,
it was me and Tony. But Tony got second. But I mean, Kelly did win, and they just fucked the scores up.
Yep.
And hang on, I lost my train of thought. Where were we
But I
going?
think you said, yeah, it did take a while to sink in, and you said like
I know, it
3
took a
weeks.
while
I
to
think you
sink in,
broke down in a
because it
nightclub,
was
didn't you? Or
so
you broke down
long
the
in
casino.
coming, and I was like, I mean, I kind of partied for the month afterwards as well. It's like, and I was so happy. But then I realised with a good friend, Michael Wyatt and Bolty, who's dead now. Well, it was just him and I, the three of us, sitting in a casino in Star City in Sydney, and I'm going, fuck, I won the Eddie, didn't I? It was a moment, and I started crying. It was the first, like, wow, this is a reality. It took a month.
That's a big thing, and obviously, like it was the first big thing you'd won. As you said, aside from the Pro Junior trials that you talked about. Since then,
but that for me, gave me a title for me, and that's what I really want. Like for me, like that was a bit better than a world title. I was like, that's what I wanted. Like, because there's only like how many world champions? There's how many Eddie champions? I know it's a different, like a world champion is a world champion. Is a different level, but for me, I'd rather this.
So basically, you changed the course of your life in a day.
It did change the course of it, and it gave me like some security. 50 grand went fucking a couple of days, but the security just lasted. I mean, I guess a lifetime.
Yeah, what did it do in terms of self-confidence and opportunities in the way to open things up for you?
I mean, what was that 2001? See, and I just got sponsored by Red Bull as well the year before, in 2000, and then that was like I won with Red Bull, and Red Bull really got behind me for 20 years, and that was it all came at once. Red Bull, Quicksilver was starting to get impatient, and Bob McKnight just backed me to, he's like, Ross, I'll back you, no worries. And I won for Bob McKnight, which was he's been a really good friend since, the 80s. And he believed in me, and it was, so I had Quicksilver and Red Bull, and, the biggest brands in their field, which went on until a couple of years ago.
So I guess around that time that you won the Eddie in the early 2000s, the concept of a big wave surfer was probably becoming more crystallized. It was more of an actual official career status. But you also had guys around. There was a lot of guys around. You had guys like Laird Hamilton and Ken. Did you ever wind up in the same room as those guys or in the same setting? What was the relationship like?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I haven't. I mean, with Laird, for example, we did a film together, Quicksilver, and it was Peter Mel, Tom, Laird, Derek Donor, Dave Kalama. We had a film. That's the only time I think I've like really met him. But I mean, I met him at Backdoor, and it was like very high going, and it was. And I've never really sat down and talked to him so much. But I have a very high admiration for Laird, what he's done and what he's still doing. And Ken Bradshaw is a different story. Like I had a bit of time with him, and like I had, he was helping me out. We were like getting on really well. With Tosa. He used to surf Waimea before that. But and Mark Fu. And I used to hang out with Mark Fu and Ken Bradshaw. And that was, Mark Fu was the one that really started this traveling big wave thing for me. That's the first guy that I reckon he wanted to surf 3 waves, Mavericks, Todos, and Waimea at the same swell. That was his dream that pretty much everyone does now, right? But Ken was like, he was just like, he was becoming a friend, and then he at the IMAX filming, he like Tony and I got smashed, and he came up to me with their ski, and he goes, what happened? I go, fuck, look at it, we're fucked, you know, come back and get us. Like, what do? We can't get in, we're drowning, you know. And we drifted out for 3 hours. Eventually, Kavika Stant and Sean Briley came and got us and towed us in. But that day I was so fucking angry, and with Ken, you know, I was so upset with him because he was all about camaraderie. You have to, you know, teamwork, and you have to look out for everyone else, you know. And I told him, like the next day at Waimea, I went out, hey, because Ken came, you know, he was all proud of himself because he's got the biggest waves, and he came round that afternoon to me and Tony's, and I was fuming. I couldn't even talk to him. I was so angry, and then he showed us how to get the water out of the cylinders. I go, fuck, a bit late, you know. Anyway, next day at Waimea, it was just Ken and I. Like, Ken was still all, you know, he was going to surf Waimea. He was all happy, and I'm going, fuck. And he, you know, he saw I was upset. He goes, what's wrong? I said, well, you know what? Fuck it, what's wrong? Dude, you True Colours came out, you know? I said, mate, you talk about looking after each other and safety issues and going to be this, and you fucking look what you did. You fucked us, you know? You could have helped us. We could have got back out there, you know? I was pissed because I missed the waves, you know? But, and Ken just sat to the ground and started crying. And I was like, a grown man crying. And he realised, you know, that from that. And I was, you know, it wasn't about fighting. I was like, mate, I just told you this is the truth. You want to, you know, we don't need to fight. I was, anyway, he apologised, and this is so many years ago, and we've surfed together since. And I mean, Ken, you know, he's still surfing. What until a few years ago, toe surfing anyway. But Ken, yeah, that's a Ken story. But yeah,
Little presents.
I love you, Ken. But
so you've had some great partnerships over the years. Obviously, you know, there's many. You talked about Sanger as a rival, but then you had partners like Tony Ray and Tom Carroll. How important is it to have that person to bounce off? And
oh no, that's very important, especially if toe surfing, but even paddle surfing. It's a nice to get. Like, I mean, Tom and I used to like bounce off each other, like push each other in a way. Used to surf rock piles alone when it's stormy, and you know, and no one out. And it's like I don't like surfing alone. Like it's, I mean, when it's small, it's okay, but big waves, there's no way. I want someone else out there. It's like it's a safety issue too. It's just to share it with someone. Like Tom and I has had best laughs in the biggest ocean, most horrible situations, drowning, like and laughing. And but then with Tony, it's another one with the toe surfing. He was the voice of reason, and he was very sensible. And Tony was amazing. We started toe surfing together, self-teaching each other, and you know, we have to learn how to do this shit because it was so good. And even now, I've been working with a local builder and stuff in Phillip Island. I've taught him how to toe surf, and he's teaching me how to build stuff. And I'm like, I mean, like, doesn't matter. You need to bounce off. Or, I mean, I think I like it to bounce off another surfer, another surfer.
I mean, obviously, the big wave scene's exploded right now, and there's so many people that identify as being I'm a big wave surfer.
Yeah.
For someone like yourself now, do you kind of feel like you've got to strike a point of difference amongst that field, or did you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Waves? Like these guys are like Nathan Florence and like, I mean, Billy Kemper, they're paddling out jaws. I mean, there's so many. There's a list, right? Twiggy. Yeah. I mean, Jamie Mitchell. I mean, I could go through. There's like 40 on the list now.
Yeah.
And there used to be like 5.
Yeah.
Right. And they're hungry, fit, young guys, you know. and skilled. They're very skilled too. Like, as you know, Lucas Shumba, he can surf, do aerials, and he's like an all-round surfer as well. But um, it, I can't even remember all the names. There's so many.
Yeah.
Walshy surfs. It can surf anything. But there is a point of difference. Yeah, like you got to either charge harder or win an event, but I'm not trying to do that. You know what I'm trying to do? I want to give back to this big wave. So I want to make a tour with Born Maniac. In a few years, they can pay the surfers, the big wave surfers, what they deserve. You know, and yeah, that's the point of difference. I'm going to sponsor these guys. That's what I'd like to.
So you'd like to sort of oversee a big wave tour?
Yeah.
Well, you've definitely got the credibility. It might take a little.
I haven't got the cash yet. It's a little. That'll come.
Watch this space, definitely.
Yeah,
love to see it happen. I mean, someone like Nathan Florence was in Australia recently, and he was traveling around, and I think he even went and surfed a couple of sensitive spots on the Victorian coast. How hard is that, trying to sort of be a big wave surfer? And you know, you want to go to these challenging locations, but then there's not only ways to navigate, there's local interests. How tricky is that?
You know, well, that's tricky in Victoria too. So I don't even go there. You know, like that's why. But I like surfing, big wave surfing, for the reason of big wave surfing. I love it, and not to get documented, because there's the waves that I surf down here. I'd love to document them, but it's not worth it. And it's not, you know, it's like that's why we can still surf them alone. Well, not with a few crew, the ways that we do, and I enjoy that. And I've since I moved to Victoria in 2000, you know, to Jan Jark and now Phillip Island, I just want to keep it that way as well. I'll you know, if they don't like it, and I enjoy the uncrowded waves. You know, like Laird and that went to Jaws, and look what happened. You know what I mean? And that just turned into a circus with toe surfing and still apparently circus paddling now. So I'm enjoying that aspect of it. But that is tricky. You're saying, like, there's places you're not allowed to film, and it'd be so epic, would make a star out of some of these surfers. You know, like Shipsterns. I mean, that was no one's when I went. You know, now there's locals there. I don't even know the situation down there, but you know, the local boys, the Homer Cross guys, and Marty Paradise. You know, these guys are charging the hell out of it, but I think they accept people coming, not as heavy as down in Victoria. I mean, there's no heavy locals per se, but they're just, but yeah, the tires will get slashed. People's tires getting slashed.
So are waves like Nazare still on the radar for you? Like,
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I've got, you know, my great friend Lino, with Nazare Water Fund, that does the you know, the infrastructure. He has got the Red Bull hangar, if you like, that was with all the jet skis, and yeah, I really want to surf Nazare again. That is on the radar, probably from October this year. Now my injury's passed. Yeah, so just be strong and healthy. I'll be back there for sure. So yeah, I'm not going to get the world record. I don't give a shit about the world. I just want to surf some really big waves again, and that's one of the places you still can tow. You know, that's big. Yeah.
What about the mortality issue when you saw like someone like Marcio Friere died there recently?
Yeah, Marcio. So okay, I was ready to go back, almost ready to go back when Marcio passed. And I was watching the whole Nazare and Hawaii. I'm like, I'm ready to go to one of them. And I was like, you know, I should go re-enter my career as back to Hawaii where I started anyway, you know. And then Marcio died, and I was like, fuck that. It was a bad vibe going in Nazare that I felt from Australia. I was like, oh God, this is not good. Yeah, it was. But now I'm not saying I forgot about Marcio, but I put that out of my head. Thank you for that. No, I forgot he died.
Do you think you're hard, but do you think you're hardwired a little bit differently? Like, do you have a higher tolerance for risk, and do you feel the fear?
No, I don't. If you don't feel fear at all, I guess you're clinically insane. But in certain aspects, I don't feel the fear of big waves. I'm very comfortable with getting pounded and holding my breath for as long as I have to, and it doesn't worry me, and I enjoy it. You know, like rock climbing, so I was scared shitless of like hanging. I mean, I haven't got the physical, I'm too fucking heavy or fat to fucking climb a rock, but I can stay underwater as long as I have to get pounded. And I feel comfortable. So, yeah.
You have to tell yourself anything? Do you have any fear management techniques, or is it something that sort of does come naturally?
You know, over years, it came naturally since I was 11, 12 years old. I was like, there wasn't a wave big enough for me when I was 11. I'm going, all these older guys are shitting themselves. I remember, and I saw the fear in their eyes going, fuck, what's wrong with it? And I was sort of like, I felt, I don't know, special, but I had an advantage. Because I've always felt very comfortable. And I remember speaking to Brock Little before he passed. He was the same. And Todd Chesser is another guy. I just don't want to be on their list. But
well, there was one time when I was nearly on the list. I wasn't a big wave surfer, but I nearly died on the beach at sunset. And you were there that day.
No,
and you actually took control of the situation. You kept a calm head. I was struggling to breathe. I had a hole in my throat.
So clearly. I was just coming in from sunset. I was pumping.
The North Day. It was good fun. Yeah.
Oh, it was North. Okay, it wasn't that good, but it was fun, right? And I remember coming in. I was just coming in. I put my board down. I started getting dressed, and I was looking out, and then I saw this guy, getting smashed in the shore break. I saw you coming in, and then I saw you getting fucking worked, and then just sort of like floundering around. I'm going, what's he doing? And then I don't know if you're unconscious. I was like, and I was like, oh fuck! I just sprinted. I was like, this guy's in trouble. I could see. I don't know. And I was like, fuck! Get the lifeguards. I'm like, no, I actually didn't even care about lifeguards. I'm gonna save you by myself. Get you out of the water. And then you're on your hands and knees. I will never forget this. And you were like, your throat had a hole in it like that big. And it was a flap. And it was like, because you were breathing.
Through my neck.
I'm traumatizing you now, but this is what I saw. You didn't even see it. You were feeling it. Like, it was like a mouth. It was fucked up. And I was like, oh. And he couldn't talk.
No, because there's no air to the vocal cords. Yeah.
No, but you were breathing, right? Okay, so then the lifeguards came down, and they put a towel on your head. Then you couldn't breathe, and you're looking up at me. I was reading your eyes, going, Ross, tell him to get the fuck off me. Like your expression.
Yeah, no, I remember that clearly. Yeah.
Do you remember seeing me?
I remember I went like that. And you were interpreting because I couldn't talk. You were actually interpreting what I was trying.
Yeah, I was interpreting your eyes, what I was seeing. Like, you're choking him, dude. Fuck it off, because you weren't bleeding out.
No,
you know, you were just flapping around. It was fucked up, and then
I think I got a pen and paper. You got me to get it, and I started writing on the pen.
Yeah, get the pen and paper. Get the pen. Yeah, right. I forgot that. I said, like, you can't talk. Get the pen. Fuck. I'm Luke from Tracks, you idiot. I was like, because there was blood and sand. I didn't even recognize you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck, it's Luke. And then And then the lifeguard stuck the towel and he goes, "No, mate, get rid of it." And then they realised, and I don't know if you remember, there was a surgeon. He was not a paramedic.
No, there was an emergency surgeon happened to be there.
No, there was some other. It could have been an orthopedic surgeon. He was a doctor, but he wasn't a paramedic.
Yeah, the trauma surgeon showed up.
Yeah, this surgeon showed up.
And he stepped in.
No, he didn't step in. He was instructing me, because we don't know this guy's name anyway, because legally, if he steps in, he has to go to the hospital all the way to everything, right through. So he told me, goes, he's tapping me on the shoulder, goes, "You're doing well, you're doing well." He's telling me what to do. He goes, "Yeah, take it off. Take the fucking towel off." And I said, "Why didn't you help, mate? You're a fucking doctor." And he explained it. He goes, "I'm on holidays." But he said, "I was watching. I would step in if I needed to."
Yeah.
And then the ambulance came, and then you take it off.
Then one guy did eventually, one surgeon did step in and he buried his fingers knuckle deep in my throat. There's footage of that. So it's pretty graphic.
Oh, okay. No, that's where the other guys came in. That other surgeon he wasn't going messing up his holiday for anyone. Fuck, that was so heavy. I was so. Have you got a scar there, or is that where you?
Yeah, there's still a scar, and I had an arthroscopy. But anyway, it was just
it's not about you, but it's
it's not about me. But our paths did cross in a life or death situation, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah,
but going into high risk things. I mean, driving fast, that's always been another one of your passions.
Since I got my license, and ironically, I get my license back I can get my license back today. I've lost it for 9 months for speeding, but I promise I'll never speed again. Not
okay. We'll hold you to that. But how many times have you lost your license?
Like speeding days on the road, I can't afford it. I need a car. I can't get anywhere,
But I mean, you actually were somewhat pseudo-responsible about it at one point. I think you organised to get a Porsche with a roll bar installed and went to a racetrack.
Yeah, no, I used to do that for the last 10 years or more. When was that? 2006, maybe. Yeah, since 2006. I went in that celebrity race in Melbourne with the F1 circuit. Yep. I got to BMWs. I thought I could drive fast, but I didn't know how to drive a track, But I learned on that with the BMW experience, and they taught us how to do it. I was running people off the road in that race. The guy from Human Nature, I just fucking smashed him into the wall, and some other. It was like smash up derbies for me. But after that, I went to Germany and got a 993, a 911 turbo, which was being butchered like a Porsche purist going, "Oh, they look down at it." But this thing was a beast. It had like 580 horsepower, a roll cage, and like had the full racing harnesses. And I used to just go to Germany just for that, and go crazy on the roads, just on the autobahns. I used to wake up at 3 a.m. just to do that. There was no one on the roads, and that was the best high of all. But then I progressed to the Nürburgring and I swapped that for a GT2, a 997, which is it's a better car. And it was, had more computerized stuff, more help if you fuck up, as I got a bit sideways a few times. But that Nürburgring is like the ultimate. But it's like those big waves. It's like a track's always there, right? It's like a big wave, always there, but still the conditions. There's rain, there's snow, and it's lighting, and people getting crowded on the track. And I mean, I had so much fun there. That was like a hobby, I guess, or more of a passion.
I think you even said at one point that it was actually, psychologically good training for big waves in a way.
Oh, no. Like trying to find that line, it is. It's like very similar. Getting it right, like a turn, an apex turn on a wave. You know, you don't want to go too far out in front of the wave. You lose speed too early, premature turning, all
Yeah.
that stuff. It's just
It's a turn with consequence. It's a corner or a turn with consequences if you get
yeah,
it wrong. Yeah.
I know. You can get a board in the head, or you could roll your fucking car and die. It's a bit different,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I really missed that. I sold it after my injury. I had to sell my car there. I mean, through COVID and everything, I couldn't go back through Germany anyway. So yeah.
Contrary to perhaps the perception that Ross Clarke-Jones, you do some training though, don't you?
No, I do. I just like I don't show like boxing and all this shit that I think it's fucking boring to watch. Like of course I do train, but I just don't promote that I train. Yeah, I ride. Well, I've been riding my bike everywhere. Like, and then I just actually came off the other day, and that's another story. But yeah, of course I train. You have to train, and surfing training is different. I mean, big wave surfing's training is different. You got to surfing is probably the best training of all, right? For surfing. But then there's like for big wave surfing, you need to be strong in your neck and back, and even holding on the ropes. And your legs need to be strong to ride these waves at speed when you're toe surfing, and to not handle the bumps and stuff. So yeah, I just don't promote that I train. Of course I do.
You have had some bad injuries though over the years. I guess you've had to train your way out of a few injuries as well. What does the injury list include?
Yeah, I mean the train, like I may not look as fit as I am, as I feel. There's a difference. You can be fat and fucking be fit, fat fit. And like I've got a thyroid problem. I have Graves' disease, right? I had my thyroid ripped off, which regulates your metabolism and everything. And I can change weight overnight with water retention, all sorts of stuff. So there's there's fit, and then there's fit, and then there's fat, and then there's fucking. It's a lot of mental fitness. Like in the Eddie, I didn't look that fit, but fuck, I could take closeouts on the set or closeouts on the head all day, which I did. Not out of breath at all. I'm like, have another ciggy. Fuck. I was like, fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what is you look at what's the Ross Clarke-Jones theory for longevity in surfing? I mean, you can look at someone like Kelly where it's, very strict diet, filter your water, activate the almonds. But I mean, what
do you have a philosophy? That's the Kelly thing. Like Kelly's such an incredible surfer, and he surfs. I don't know if he trains at all. He just surfs. He surfs so much, and of course he's got a strict diet and everything. And like even now he's 51, maybe just turned 51 or 52 or something. And like he's still on the tour, and like anyone that fucking bags him that I've seen, like I see these forum people going, "Oh, he's past it. He should give up." Fuck you guys. He's still one of the best surfers in the world. He might have had a bad day, and he goes, "Oh, he's disinterested." And I can't believe people turn on Kelly Slater like that. You know what I mean? Like that's so critical. Like fuck, really? Of course he's 52, but he'll still surf anyone out of the water. You know what I mean? At pipe or something. But
so you're 57. You must take a bit of inspiration from him too, though. I guess.
No, not inspiration from him. But I mean, I've always admired his.
Yeah.
He saw me and Tom fucking off our dials in Rio, right? And when he first came on the tour, and I was going, fuck, get this kid out of here. Like, fucking freaking me out. And no, he's just been amazing surfer, and like, stayed away from partying and or any types of drugs or smoking, or I don't even think he drinks a beer, and maybe once or twice. But he's a different situation, different childhood. you know. He's watching his father and his brothers not towing the line, you know, so he did the opposite. And I take my hat off to him. But getting back to me as longevity, I think it's just to stay young and feel and don't like fuck. I'm 57. When I look at 57-year-olds, I'm going, fuck me, they're really old. And I look in the mirror, and I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to look in the mirror either. But it's about how you feel. You got to keep moving. You know, when it's like the time I had, you know, injured, I felt 80 years old. I was fucked. I'm going, I'll never do this again. I can't do that again. And that's why I was so happy in the Eddie to do this year that, you know, for me, I got 10th or something. I didn't care. I felt like it was such a win for me. Even more than the actual win in 2001, I felt like, wow, I feel 25, you know, I feel better than I ever felt. But yeah, I think it's a mentality, it's a mindset. Don't get too hung up on your age, for sure. Don't let people tell you you're too old. Because they've been telling me that for fucking 30 years. Oh, you're too old. I remember them telling it like when I was 27 or 28. That was old on the tour back then. You know? You're too old. Fuck you. Yeah. So I just keep moving. I reckon that's the longevity. Keep surfing. Don't stop. You know, and choose your ways. I mean, choose your not battles or choose your surfs. Like if you don't feel like going out, don't go out. You don't have to. You know, that's the thing. Don't push yourself to have to go out. But even swim every day. I reckon take a cold swim every day. That's what my father used to do. So, and that's what I'm still doing.
Are there any things left on the bucket list, sort of surf wise and beyond surfing, Ross?
Oh yeah. So well, as I said, I want to sponsor some athletes. You know, I want to go back to Nazare. Sure, if I'm give the biggest wave in the world, yeah. If it comes to me, I'll take it. But I'm not trying to achieve that. Like a lot of people are. I want to get the biggest wave in the world. Who gives a fuck? There's many ways that you know, I guess it would help with sponsorship. I get the world record, but someone else is going to beat it. You know, but for me, yeah, I'd like to sponsor a tour. I want to go back to Nazare to get acquainted with it, just ride some big waves again, see all my friends. I want to go back to Hawaii. Love to win the Eddie again. I could do it. I know I could do it, even at this age. But you know, I just want to be involved. I have to get invited again. But I mean, I've been on the list since '86, so don't fucking count me out yet. Yeah. So what else do I want to do? I actually, my goal, as apart from sponsoring a world surfing, big wave surfing, getting the surfers paid properly, I want to get a garage, buy some land at Nürburgring, and have some Porsches in the car ready to go on the track. So that's what my goal is.
What about winning the celebrity race?
Oh, fuck the celebrity race. So that's the thing. I don't like actually racing. It's like competing. But so I'm just like going around the track. Actually, you know what I mean? I love going around the track. There's slower cars in front of you. They got not a good an engine or anything, and it makes you feel better. It's pass them. But then there's always some fuckwit behind you just in your rear vision mirror going, you just let them pass. I mean, yeah, like I don't want to race, but I love to go around the track.
Well, Ross, it's been a very entertaining chat. I'm sure we can talk about a lot more things, but we might leave it there.
Yeah.
We've got at least a 2-part series for sure.
Okay, good.
Thanks for your time.
No worries.
And hopefully I see you for a surf soon, and I won't be on the beach gasping for breath.
Yeah. No. It was fucked up. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it was. But what I've never. But the other thing I was going to say is like you kept a level head in that situation, which for me at the time was I'm very grateful for, because everyone else's face was more panicked than I was, and that's what scared me the most, looking at everyone's face.
Yeah, but
you actually kept a level head.
But did I freak you out in my head or not?
No. You kept me kind of calm, and you kept the situation calm.
Yeah.
And I think in hindsight, there were potentially other people in the wings, maybe thinking of stabbing me in the throat with hose pipes and sort of doing various other. But you kept it level.
Yeah, because that was the thing. I remember looking when I broke my back in '91. Like the people that you read people's face, and then you get more fear from that. Going, fuck what, or we get a cut on your face, and everyone, ooh, and it makes it worse for sure, because you don't feel that bad, right? I mean, did you feel that bad? You knew it was something wrong?
I knew it was pretty critical because I could hardly breathe. But because I'd been in the surf for a few hours, I was kind of exhausted as well, which helped me keep calm.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I was just focusing on getting air into my lungs, because I was kind of pretty much in survival mode.
Yeah.
But, I did get frightened looking at the look on everyone else's face, because they could see the injury and I couldn't.
Oh, that's good.
So I do appreciate. I never said that. I'm very grateful to you for helping me in that situation.
So for the future, it's a good thing not to panic or make it, a look of panic to the patient, and just say it's okay, you'll be fine, you'll be sweet.
It's obviously there's a physiological scenario to every situation, but the psychological element is very important as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's great news. Made my day.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
Glad to be here to talk the story with you. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.